Welcome in, everyone. So today, a special treat for you all. I have with us again Jeremy Buzash, who you guys might remember from when I did back the art video with him earlier, a couple months ago now. I think we sat down, Jeremy, and we did that.
Yeah.
So now we're finally at the point where on Heritage Auction, some of these amazing pieces of original video game art are going to be auctioning. And I want you to come on here. I'm happy you came on with me today to share some opinion, share some perspective on these pieces.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
So right off the bat here, let's get right into it. The top items at the auction right now. We have original video game box art of Bionic Commando and Prince of Persia. Both NES game box art, if I am correct on that.
Yeah.
Bionic Commando right now sits at 21,000 after the BP. If you guys don't know, these are the original box arts that were painted, and then that was used to create the actual box art that we see for the box. And Prince of Persia sits at 18,600. Are these expected to be the two biggest pieces in this auction? Is this surprising yet? What are your thoughts?
I would say for sure these are definitely the two biggest bangers of the auction. Both very significant pieces, historical pieces. The artist of Bionic Commando especially has done quite a few video game covers. So he's well known amongst people who are already collecting game artwork, for sure.
That being Frank Sirocco?
Frank Sirocco, yeah. So he's I guess a comic artist, but also an illustrator. Like he did a lot of stuff outside of comics, like video games and things like that too. So there was some crossover with certain people like him.
So at these current prices, I mean, 21,000, 18,000, they already seem very large. I don't know if you know who is consigning them, but if you had to take a guess, if they were to end at this price right now, is this already impressive, or is there a lot of room still, do you think?
I would say there's lots of room. Certainly I know if I owned these pieces, I would not be satisfied with those prices for sure. Just because of how historical they are. You know, it's like, what can I buy for that amount of money that could equal the prestige of these two things? I can't think of anything. So I think there's lots of room. I think these are very healthy pre-bids, before the live bidding starts. So I'm happy to see that there's a lot of interest that way. We already know who the consigner is of the floor check piece, Prince of Persia.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah, I saw some of the write-up here there's a lot of information on the Prince of Persia piece.
So Kevin Nealon is the actor, SNL alumnus, who was the model for, I believe, the Grand Vizier there. So he was gifted this piece after it was commissioned, I believe, and I think he's had it ever since.
That's honestly incredible. Like, just that it has the really provenance with it like that.
And very strong provenance, with a well-known actor, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, 100%. Did you guys know it was in his possession too prior to it coming up to Heritage?
I don't know about anyone else, but personally, I had no idea.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. I was wondering how much of this stuff is like public knowledge known to be held in collections, or if people who have a lot of this art, keep it private to themselves.
Yeah, I'm sure people have inquired to this artist before about other work he's done, and I'm sure, there was some knowledge down the line somewhere that he had gifted this piece to Kevin, back in the day. So maybe that was how it came about. I'm not sure. I don't know what the process was for Heritage getting this piece, but it's really cool. And I love Prince of Persia because especially the newer revamp of it in the early 2000s when it came out for like GameCube and Xbox. I played those games a lot.
Yes, those are the ones I grew up with as well.
Yes, they're fantastic games, and this is the OG version of it. I mean, very significant piece for sure.
I'm excited to see where both of these end. I think these are both going to be the pieces that, have the most eyes on them. Especially the Bionic Commando one is just, one resonates more with me than Prince of Persia, but both incredible.
You can tell there's a lot of interest already.
That's what I was going to say. And now that you say that, there's so much more room, it's like, oh man, I'm excited for the auction. That's going to be crazy to watch. So right beside it, we have Streets of Rage original advertising art sitting at, I think it's like 4,300 after BP for this.
Yeah.
This is an incredible piece as well.
Yeah. And for those who don't know, Mick McGinty, now passed, is one of the big game illustrators, Street Fighter 2, so many amazing covers that he did and so many amazing pieces. He has a very big catalog of video game art, especially.
So this artist in general, you're saying, is very collectible?
Yes. Yeah. He would be well known amongst people already entrenched in the community for, yeah, especially for Street Fighter 2, which is maybe his most well-known cover.
Being advertising art on this, I mean, obviously it's not a box cover, but insanely iconic.
Yeah.
Streets of Rage 2, big IP. It's a very popular game. Dare I say, maybe some people would disagree with that assessment, but dare I say, with this being advertising art, is there any potential for it to compete with something like an original box art? Even like, it's a big IP, right? Can it get to the point of competing with that?
If I think about trying to buy the box art for a Streets of Rage game, I would expect to pay a lot of money for something like that. So for someone who loves this this property and wants a piece of history from this property, this is like the best thing you can get, probably outside of box art. I'm sure there are, like, maybe there's a few other ads for Streets of Rage out there. I don't recall offhand. But yeah, for something like this, I would say, like, if you love the property, this is a way to get something from it that's not gonna, break the bank.
Yeah, I guess that's a really good point to bring up. I mean, even in the sealed world, we begin talking about buying a complete in-box version because you're never going to get the sealed one.
Yeah. You always, you have to make concessions. This is, something we talked about in the video too, where, you can't always have the prime piece because either it belongs to someone and they, why would they want to sell something like that? Or, it's been destroyed or lost or, so you just have to take what you can get sometimes. But being Streets of Rage, it's a great piece and a great artist, which helps too.
Yeah, 100%. And right beside it, an EverQuest 2 load screen, which I wish I played EverQuest so I could really appreciate it. But even as an outsider, it's just like, man, that's so cool.
Yeah, and a pretty healthy early bids on that too. Being just a loading screen, not even a cover or something.
Loading screens are iconic, man. That's
well, that's true. Yeah.
Coming down here, we end up with some Sonic pieces. Actually, there's Mario pieces, which they aren't box art, but I still assume these are going to be some of the pieces that have the most casual eyes on them, if that makes sense to you. Maybe you're not deeply entrenched in the hobby, but you see Mario, Sonic, and you want to jump in.
Yeah, absolutely. And, this is, again, another great way of getting a piece of history from these iconic franchises for, a lot less money than it would cost for like a box art piece or an advertisement piece or something like that.
Absolutely. This one here is 1993 calendar. Sitting at $2,000 right now. Amazing artwork on it. Have you seen something like this sell? Like, do you have any kind of gauge as to what? I don't want to say like, oh, what's it going to end at? But like, you know what I mean? What kind of pricing would surprise you, or what can you share for that?
Well, it's funny because I remember, I don't know if it was already 2 years ago. I'm trying to think when that Greg Martin Knuckles magazine cover sold, but
was that on Heritage or where?
That was on Heritage. And I remember looking at that one and thinking like, oh yeah, this is like, maybe a $5,000 to $7,000 piece. And then it ended up going for like 18,000 or something like that.
$18,000. Okay.
Yeah. So no one really saw that coming. But there are people out there who absolutely love Sonic and Mario, and, they'll pay for, nice painted pieces. And obviously, that's an iconic artist as well, Greg Martin, who did the box art for Sonic 2, the North American box art.
And what was this one from? Sorry, it says Sega Visions.
It's a magazine cover.
Okay,
yeah, not even Sonic on it. It's just Knuckles.
No, yeah, I know. That's what I mean when I look at these. You know what I mean, like a calendar piece. But as we see with sealed games and game collecting in general, the brand awareness IP can sometimes just shoot stuff to. I don't want to say ridiculous prices, but in some cases, like you said, not something we've never expected.
Absolutely. Yeah. And these are big pieces too. I think they're like A2 size, so like 24 inches tall. So,
oh man,
they're very significant pieces,
Oh yeah. 18 by 25.
Yeah. So they're not tiny. They're colorful and they're large, and, Sonic, Tails, and Robotnik. Like, what else do you want?
Quite literally though, right? I mean, we talked about those box arts, and without me being too biased and stuff, it's like, man, I would rather own this. I don't think I'm going to be able to compete on these. This one as well, sitting at $1,800. But those are ones that caught my eyes immediately. As well as this one here, which is Kellogg's Apple Jacks advertisement.
Yeah, so they would have used like a style guide to create this. The same line art that would have been used for, the Mario 3 box art. They would have used that as a guide to create something like this. And then, added all the extra stuff around him.
Yeah, that's obviously caught my eye again as something that, like, oh my God, I Apple Jacks advertisement, but I wouldn't be surprised if it just pops off being Mario Bros. 3. So
yeah, and this one has sold before on Heritage as well.
My gosh.
Yeah, I believe this one, I'm trying to remember what it went for. Maybe it was 2,000 or something. Maybe it could have done better, but maybe it'll do better this time. I think
$2,100, and right beside it is Link.
Yeah.
For 33.
Exactly. So, yeah, I mean, where else can you get a painting of Link or Mario for that matter? Actually, the Kirby one I thought was the best deal because there's really no Kirby art in private collections.
These are insane. Like, I look at the price points for them. 2020, obviously different world that we were living in with everything. But
yeah.
I look at the price points. It's like, oh my God, like, wow, I can afford these. Like, I could have afforded them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And they, back then I thought they were really good buys. Maybe the Link I thought was a little high. It's not the best looking, but whatever,
That's peak Zelda art right there. That's Zelda 2. That's
it's Link, it's a painted Link. What else do you want?
There's endless pieces here I could bring up, so I just want to ask you, if you've gone through everything here, what is one piece that you think people might not be looking at as much as they arguably should be? Or some stuff that caught your eye?
Oh, well, I mean, obviously the big two really drew my attention because they kind of drew everyone's attention for sure. And justifiably so. Actually, I really like the Halo piece. The Halo graphic novel piece I quite like because there's not a lot of painted published Halo art out there. And for me, like, Halo was a big part of my life in high school when it came out on Xbox, and very fond memories of Halo. So that one kind of definitely draws my eye.
This is I'm glad you pointed it out. I my eyes skimmed over it just due to the style of the art. I didn't even realize it was a Halo piece. And one other piece I want to bring up here because it's just so unique in how it looks. If I can just find it now. Here. So Hiroshi Takase, get out of here. Hiroshi Takase, Mario Kun Shikishi board original video game art from the 80s. What is it? Why does it exist?
This art, I don't know if you know what a shikishi is, but a shikishi is literally that board, that little gold trim board that it's drawn on.
Okay.
So those are used in Japan for autographs and like custom pieces, usually from artists. So this particular artist, Hiroshi Takase, who passed, I believe, in 2006, he was the writer and artist of Mario Kun, which was, I think it ran for a couple years in Japan. There's quite a few comic books of it. But yeah.
Would this be it?
Yes, that's it. Yeah. So it's like a cute version of Mario. It's like a little cutesy version of Mario. Really cute and fun, and clever writing, and it was quite popular for the years it was out. But then he passed, so he was no longer able to continue it. But it was a really cool. This is like an autograph drawing.
Okay, so the original artist made a custom piece, signed it, and that's what this is?
Yes, and these are very popular, getting more popular in North America, but especially in Japan, these Shikishi board autographs are very popular because Japanese artists they can sometimes be notoriously reclusive.
Yes.
And it's hard to get in touch with a lot of Japanese artists. And so, to get an artist to make you something in color on a Shikishi board is kind of like a big deal.
No, that's fantastic. Is there any, I mean, like I said, there's endless pieces here that we could talk about, but I don't want to keep you on here all day. Anything else you just want to point out or talk about quick?
I would just say I'm really quite impressed with the variety that Heritage is putting forth. There's lots of great little entry pieces and like conceptual drawings and preliminaries that are great for someone like, this Sirocco Centipede.
Yeah, immediately caught my eye there. Very cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So, if you're a fan of Frank's work or Centipede in general, and, you can't afford like a box cover painting or it's not available, or whatever the reason is, this is, you know, kind of the next best thing. So I think there's a great variety for experienced collectors. There's great variety for new collectors coming in. I'm just really, you know, quite impressed with the diverse selection they've put in there.
I'm surprised by how low some of this stuff is still sitting, and you know, for my own selfish greed here, I'm like, man, I hope some of these do stay low. But for the consigner's sake,
some art, yeah, that's right.
For the people who consigned, I mean, I'm sure there's going to be bidding action. But seeing this sitting at $26, it's like, oh my god, that's incredible.
Yeah, and it's also, you know, Glenn Fabry is also a very well-known comic artist, very prominent comic artist, and he did a lot of game art actually.
So everything taking place on Friday, January 20th in the evening. I'll put up reminders on my Instagram, on my YouTube. Hopefully you guys can come out. I will be live streaming it. Jeremy, thank you so much for your time, man. Thank you for highlighting some of these pieces.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Yeah.
Hopefully you guys got something out of this. And in the comment section, please, I'll tell Jeremy to watch the comments. Ask questions about anything you want to know. He can help you out. I can try and help you out.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, man. Take care. Thanks again.
Cheers.